So we're not going to get too much into an S-load. You should know how to load an S-load. Like I said, this is nothing but a modified S-load. So you make an S-load with it. The difference that I tell everybody in an S-load or triple air load on a truck is basically you start at the truck because you have to. It's connected to the truck. You can't disconnect it. I mean, you could, but that's not really how it goes. So you basically make a mark at the truck and you're like, all right, we're going to load it from here. Whereas a high-rise pack, everything is at the nozzle. You want it to begin and end with the nozzle. So we're going to start with a nozzle. So you have it all laid out in an S-load. The easiest thing to do for consistency's sake is we're going to tell you exactly where to put this next coupling. You're going to end up with a nozzle and a coupling. There's a male and a female right here. So would you put that right behind the nozzle? So we're going to make it on the inside. Yep, we're going to turn it up on its side like that. Perfect. Move it back just a little bit. What I don't want it to do is ride up. Yeah, just like that. I want it to lay, you see how this lays flat like that? Those two angles go together. That's just what I want to see. In other words, I don't want it to do that.
Right.
So that looks really, really good. You can actually take that and put it through the bale right now and go ahead and lock that in. And what Lewis is doing is, that is excellent job, is everything needs to be this length. The tip of the nozzle does not stick out in front of anything. It's the tip of the nozzle. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get, for length, what you're looking for is compartment dependent. Where do you put it in your truck? So you need to know really the height. So if you make it too short, the height might be too high. If you make it too long, obviously it won't fit in the truck. If it's too long, don't put it in the truck. Make it the right length. Make it fit in your truck. All right, so what we've done here is, this is just an option. I'm not going to corner you and say this is exactly how you have to do that, but this is an option. Sometimes people paint on the floor of their fire station exactly how long it is. In this case, we had blue, and that was done years ago before I was even here. The problem with that is we don't load hose in the fire station too much. We use it in the field, we load it in the field, and we bring it back. So to get this in a truck, and like I said, it's compartment dependent, what Wyatt does is he puts tape on a tool, measures the compartment. That tape mark right here, it needs to fit from the end of the tool to the tape. That's it. That's how we measure this on scene, and it'll get us right there. You don't need a slide rule to do this. Give yourself a little bit of leeway. A couple inches. Not a foot, but a couple inches. So what we're going to do is, right now, we're going to intentionally load this a little bit long, or these guys are going to intentionally load this a little bit long, and I'm going to show you a real quick and easy way to shorten or lengthen your pack while it's on the ground. And it doesn't take up any time. So Lewis here is, hang on just a second. Yep. See how they're pushing that back? They're pushing these just like that. Beautiful, fellas. This end doesn't extend past that. This end doesn't extend either. They're both straight up and down. At this point, you're not in any hurry, so don't like snatch the hose from the other guy and all that kind of stuff. Just don't do that. Good job. All right, so what we got here is, this is an ending that we don't want, but I'll teach you how to deal with that a little bit. What we're going to do is, at this point, we decided, oh no, this is too long. This is actually a little too long. So even if your pack was completely packed up, had the straps on it and everything, and it was too long, what I want you to do is, I want you to take it out of the truck, I want you to lay it on the ground just like on its side, unbuckle the straps, lay it out just like you see here, and we're going to start with Wyatt. We're not going to worry about any of this. Wyatt's going to now make it the length that it needs to be. So you're going to push that up, We're going to shorten it like that. So now we have gotten, that's actually the size that we're looking for. We don't need to deploy this. We don't need to start over. None of that needs to happen. I've seen so much wasted time doing that. You're just going to go back and forth. I know that all that pulling back towards your knees and stuff, if you'll notice the position that they're in where they're pulling everything back to their knees is definitely the best way to do this. You want to build it starting from the nozzle and build it up and pull it back against your knees. That's the easiest way to do it. Now remember, when you're building this to be as tight and compact as possible because you're going to have to carry this no telling where or for how long. So all this that they're pulling out of here, all this slack and actually this hose is, you know, not too bad with air, but it's got a little bit of air in it. So this is not uncommon at all here, where we end up with this tail. All I'm doing now is just trying to get my planes as good as I can. So my planes are pretty decent right here. So what I want to do is, this actually fell okay. I really would like it to be here, based on the fact that a gated Y is going to go there, and you can catch it with a strap. Anything past this is usually people are like, oh, that's perfect, but I'm actually going to move it back a little bit. So how we move this back is, we know that there's going to be 3 straps. This first strap is important to go across the front of the entire pack and incorporate the nozzle. You want to incorporate that nozzle because you don't want, that is another weight that's going to be trying to pull it apart. The next one's going to be in the middle right here, and the third one's going to be back here. And what do we want to incorporate in the back? We want to incorporate the, yes, very good. And we want to incorporate the gated Y. These straps, whoever put these together, I like him very much, or her, doesn't matter. That knot that keeps it from coming out, it makes a big difference. It does, because you will always pull them out if you don't. That is a beautiful knot at the end. Figure out how long you want your straps. You don't even have to burn them if you tie a knot on there. It's good to go. So Wyatt's going to show us a way. There's a couple different ways to do this. But what we want to put Dutchman in here to make everything line up. We also want to put our Dutchman under one of these straps. And we don't want to do it on, let's say, right here at the top. We're going to kind of incorporate it in the pack itself to hold it together a little bit. So let's do this one right here. Can go even right there. You can put that under the front strap or the back strap, either one. And if you need to, like Wyatt can even give you a little bit of that, that's still incorporated in the back. This can get the front, and you can make that a little bit longer. This is going to actually change. This is something where you're going to actually have to be a professional fireman and figure out where all this goes. Hose has a variance on it lengthwise. It's not all hoses exactly 50 feet. So you may have 3 50-foot sections. You actually may have 3 48-foot sections, which is going to give you a little bit different. Your compartment size is going to give you a little bit of different at the end. So if longer packs may not have this at all. So this one right here, let's see. You could take this and tuck it like that, which, believe it or not, is really not too bad.
This has got to be shorter though.
Okay. Talking about this one? So you're going to do this here. It's all right. split the difference in that then. Or, hang on.
Split the difference all the way back to here. You know, so
Okay.
make that one a little bit.
Yeah. You're still gonna end up with that. That's, to me, that's completely acceptable. That's, yeah. Like I said, you can't load these with a slide rule. Every pack is gonna be a little bit different.
That'll fit the
But yes, that'll fit in the compartment.
package well.
So now what we're going to do is we have to decide which side goes up top. Remember, at this point you got to say, well, I want to deploy it off my right shoulder, and I want the nozzle to be in the inside closest to my ear. That way the outside will deploy off first and you'll end up with a nozzle. With that being the case, the way that you got this laid out, the nozzle should come and lay up top. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to break it, can you break it at any fold? No. You have to break it now to where the twist is going to be at the back. Like for instance, this is an option. Let's say this is an option, this is an option, and this is an option, but not these. These will put the twist up front. Conversely, in the back, Wyatt will have the option depending on what he's looking for. I say since you have to lift up that nozzle piece and put it on top, you're going to end up with like a 1/3 and 2/3 kind of. So make the bigger be on the base, like where he's obviously already made that choice, because you have this option or this option.
Right.
So now he's going to lift that up. So you guys are going to together are going to lift that up and then just not really high, just bring it straight up and lay it right there. Now you're still going to do this exact same thing here. You're pulling it against your knees, you're holding everything tight. It doesn't matter what strap you put on first. To me, it certainly does not matter. But I was going to say, good deal. So Wyatt is now, the twist is in the back here. He's going to tighten that down, but you notice where he put his buckle was up here, and I'll tell you why he did that. You see, when he's pulling against the strap, he's actually pulling up towards himself to tighten it. That's all right. It doesn't have to be. I mean, so he has that. He's not pulling that towards the ground. He's pulling it up towards himself.
This be different.
Right. If you did it that way, you'll be pulling towards the ground. Also, with the buckle being on top right there, if he's deploying it off his shoulder, you can reach up top, or I can reach up top and knock it down or unbuckle it. Or if you choose to deploy it off the ground, you just throw it on the ground and it didn't cover up the buckles. For instance, if he had the buckle here and he threw it on the ground on that side, you'd have to flip the pack over in order to get to the buckles. But if you always put them on the top, no matter where it is, no matter where it's laying, what side it's laying on, you'll always be able to get to the buckles. If you put that much thought into this, which you really kind of should. If you put thought and effort into loading this hose and all the hose on your truck,
Free strap load.
if you put this much time and effort into loading it, when you're actually on scene, when there's fire or people hanging out windows or people yelling at you, there's actually going to be chaos around you. It'll deploy so much easier. You won't have to worry about all this stuff because you've already put time and effort into the front half of it. All right. That looks good, man. I like that a lot. So so what we're looking for, do we have the right nozzle? We got the right nozzle. Are we minus a stream shaper? We're minus a stream shaper, yes. Just real quick, if I was grading you and you're a brand new guy, I told you to put the nozzle right there. You did. They're not stacked. It's not twisted. That looks really good. This front doesn't extend past the nozzle. That looks really good. The back is the same way. It doesn't extend past. The front strap incorporates the nozzle. It doesn't flop around at all. I like that a lot. The middle strap is in the middle. The back strap incorporates the gated Y. I would carry that anywhere and it won't fall apart. What else? Oh, the nozzle is, if you were to carry it on the right shoulder, it's on the inside. That looks good. Supply side's up. That looks good. The twist is in the rear. I love that. That looks really good. In the front, it should look very clean, very neat, because that's your operating end anyway. And really, truly, you're only doing this to deploy it off your shoulder inside of a building. So you want the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario is in a stairwell, inside a building, in a hallway or something like that, off a shoulder. The easiest way to deploy it is off the ground. And I'll certainly show you how to do that too. But then it really doesn't matter how good it is, but that's not what we're doing. We're wanting this to deploy in a worst case scenario. So it only gets easier after that. But this one looks good to me. I would put that, if it fits in the compartment, which we know it does because we've measured it, our tool, it fits inside our tool, so we're good to go. That's a good one, I like that.